From the Detroit Free Press, it's Friday, July 31st. Here are today's top stories, presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kerry Jr. II. The State Health Department reports 715 new cases of the coronavirus. 19 deaths were reported yesterday. 14 of them were uncovered in a review of death certificates. In total, there are over 80,000 cases and over 6,100 deaths statewide. New restrictions are being implemented in northern Michigan, and Detroit casinos can reopen starting next month. On Wednesday, Governor Gretchen Whitmer approved reopening the MGM, Greektown, and Motor City casinos at 15% capacity starting August 5th. Casinos must conduct daily screening protocols for employees and customers. And according to the press release, casinos must also require guests to wear face masks. Masks are not required for eating and drinking or for identification purposes. The new restrictions in northern Michigan are an expansion of the limitations in central and southern Michigan. Indoor gatherings are now limited to 10 people, and indoor alcohol sales are no longer permitted. The new restrictions go into effect today. Teachers may not be in attendance for the start of schools in September because of COVID-19. The teachers' union threatened to stage a walkout if school officials require students to attend in-person instruction this fall. Reporter John Wisely has more details. Thank you, John, for talking with me about this today. Teachers have really been expressing their concerns about the coronavirus and going back to in-person classes for summer schools. And as we approach the fall, those concerns are very real. So now teachers are threatening to do a walkout, it seems. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, the teachers organized a call with media and some other unions that represent other non-teacher employees within the district to talk about their concerns for return to school. And Superintendent Nikolai Vitti would like to see face-to-face learning return in Detroit on schedule. The school teachers unions and some of the other unions are very concerned about it, and they said they raised these concerns with Vitti. So the question was raised, what will happen if you can't reach an agreement? If the school says you must come and the teachers don't feel comfortable coming? Terrence Martin is the president of the Detroit Federation of Teachers, said flat out, we will not show up. Technically striking by law. Now, how that would be enforced in a situation like this would be very difficult to tell, because if an employee is complaining that it's an unsafe work environment, I don't think they can be forced to go there, but that would be something that the courts would have to figure out. And in their defense, the teachers have said that they are prepared to do online learning. They're happy to do that, but if they're forced to return to schools and they're not feeling safe, they said they will not show up. Vitti hasn't responded specifically to that. He's basically told them that if they don't offer face-to-face learning, they run several risks. They could lose funding from the state or the feds, who may not fund schools that don't offer in-classroom instruction. The other thing they could lose is students. Detroit public schools compete for students with charter schools in Detroit and with some suburban districts which allow Detroit students to attend under schools of choice programs. So Vitti fears that if Detroit did not offer classroom instruction and charter schools or suburban districts did, you could see an exodus of Detroit school students from Detroit Public Schools Community District.
Now, there were teachers that volunteered to teach in person during the summer school. How do we know how many teachers will participate in this walkout and how many teachers will choose to go back and teach in school?
That's going to be really interesting to see. How many of them would actually show up? I don't know. If they were to stage a walkout on the in-school teaching, they would have to probably take a vote of the union members, and they would have to get a majority. So if the majority didn't support it, they couldn't officially do it as a union, but you could have individual teachers who may not show up.
John says the teachers union requested another meeting with the school district to revise the return to schools program. The union also wants to form a health advisory committee to weigh in on whether students should return to schools in the fall. That's the latest. For more information on COVID-19 in Michigan, visit www.freep.com.
I'm Kirkland Crawford with the Free Press Sports Department and an update from college sports. One of the men who said he was sexually assaulted by former longtime University of Michigan Dr. Robert Anderson said on Thursday that he made legendary coach Bo Schembechler aware of what was going on. In the lawsuit filed in federal court, The former student says that in 1982, Schembechler angrily told him to inform then athletic director Don Canham, who, according to the lawsuit, took no known action. The lawsuit does not say whether Schembechler followed up. There are now hundreds of people who have come forward and said Anderson sexually assaulted them in his role as doctor for the school's human services and athletic departments. With this new information, what then should the university do when it comes to the legacy of Bo Schembechler, practically the founding father of modern-day Michigan football? Sean Windsor weighs that question in today's Free Press.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.